Okay, call the meeting to order. And we will have a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Szymanski.
Okay, please give your name and location. Mayor Kendall.
Mayor Kendall present in the Harper Woods City Office in Harper Woods.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino.
Present from my home classroom in the city of Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Present and attending virtually from the city of Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Pies.
Present and attending virtually from the city of Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Present and attending virtually from the city of Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present and attending virtually from my home in Harper Woods.
Councilman Toussaint.
Present and attending virtually from my home in Harper Woods.
City Attorney Diwali.
Here.
Acting City Manager Szymanski here as well. All present and accounted for, Mayor.
Thank you. We will move on to special business. C with number 1, the city manager's employment agreement. Do I have
I'm
a,
going to read it. I'll read it. Okay.
okay,
Okay, item C1, city manager's employment agreement. With this item being tabled at your last meeting and scheduled for this special meeting following the suggestion and recommendation of the city attorney, I have again attached the city manager's at-will employment agreement. The agreement provides that on the anniversary date of the agreement, March 29th, 2021, the agreement may automatically be renewed for an additional 3 years unless a notice is given to the contrary 90 days prior to this date. The city manager was called and has been on active military duty for approximately 1 year. The pandemic, call to active duty, as well as other national emergencies were unexpected and unanticipated events over the past year. As a result of the city manager being on active military service, no action was taken with regard to the agreement until his return. Specifically, the city did not take any action with regard to the 90-day provision since the city manager was on active duty and unable to attend any meeting that may have been held to discuss the matter. Given the city manager's return from active service and his expressed intent to return to his position, City Council may consider possible actions based on the agreement, including but not limited to renewal, modification, or non-renewal.
do I have a resolution?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer by resolution to not renew the employment agreement between the city of Harper Woods and Joseph Raker for the position of city manager.
Support.
Support. It's been moved and supported. And is there any discussion? Seeing no hands?
Madam Mayor,
Oh, okay. Councilwoman Constantino?
this is just wrong on so many levels. I'm embarrassed that we have people on our city council who don't understand contracts. I'm embarrassed that we have people on our city council who don't understand the law. And you, Sarah. I'm embarrassed that we have people on our council who would put our citizens and taxpayers at risk, both financially and with the reputation of our city. I'm embarrassed that we have members of our city council that would be so sneaky and underhanded as to even consider terminating an employee who is on active duty and unable to defend himself. Madam Mayor, I request that we have an opportunity to hear City Manager Raker's side of things.
Okay, is there anyone else on council that wish to speak? Councilwoman Williams. You're muted.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the recommendation for this resolution was to not renew the contract. And just for clarification, so if the vote is a yes vote, that means it's a yes to not renew the contract. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as I stated on the other last week, that I really didn't think this was a fair contract. I mean, fair thing to do, considering that Mr. Riker was off on active duty. And I had yet to hear actually of any real reason for not renewing the contract. I haven't heard any valid reason. I mean, personally, about not renewing it. And I guess that's pretty much how I feel about it.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on council?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
from my understanding, the contract has already been renewed. Now it's up to us as council people to either extend some sort of, trial period before we go talking about, just terminating someone, because he's already city manager. And, this is something that when we agreed to have John Szymanski fill in for Mr. Raker, that was contingent upon Mr. Raker's return to work. And then we all as council members received an email saying that Joe isn't to return to work. He's not to come to he can't start work. And it's just, that doesn't make any sense when that whole putting a acting city manager in place was contingent upon the return of the city manager. And so now that he has returned to active duty, and then we get an email saying that he can't come back because council wants to have this discussion. This doesn't make sense. And I also agree that this is very underhanded. And I really need to hear some reasons. Ms. Sawicki is making faces right now. And I want to know, what are these reasons that, you feel that this termination needs to happen? And, were these also issues that you had when he was deputy city manager, when he was city manager, for all of these years, and then this contract was renewed? So it just doesn't make sense to me that this is something we want to do on Flag Day, and to honor somebody's service by saying, no, you don't get a job, not in Harper Woods. We're going to set up a dangerous precedent and open ourselves up for lawsuits. So that's
Okay.
just what I feel.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on council before I open the door for Mr. Raker to speak if he chooses to?
Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
The only thing that I would say is this is an open meeting. And if I were to voice the reasons why I have a problem with renewing a contract, I believe that would be not in the best interest of an employee. And so I prefer to remain mute on this issue, because I don't think it would be in Mr. Riker's favor.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else would like to speak that hasn't spoken? Okay.
Madam
Mr.
Mayor.
Raker, would you? I haven't. You already voiced yourself. Councilwoman Constantino, you have something else you want to add?
Yes, I do have something I want to add. A couple things. If you look at the contract, it states that it's already renewed itself. So this can't possibly be a contract renewal.
All right.
Number one. Number two, if we are going to let go of our city manager or, you know, or not renew his contract or whatever in the heck we're doing, because this is an illegitimate vote because his contract has already been renewed automatically. But what kind of message does that send to our employees? We're going to have a very, very difficult time getting good employees if we're just going to be doing weird things willy-nilly. So, I mean, we have a contract that's already in place. You know, we have you, Sarah. We have, at this point, the city manager should be, City Manager Riker should be the one running the meeting because he is the city manager. We only appointed Mr. Szymanski during his absence. So at this point, since he's returned, he's the city manager. He should be the one in the city offices.
Okay.
And nobody should have, it was anybody who told him not to come in was overstepping their bounds.
Okay. Is
Madam
there any further discussion?
Madam
Having
Mayor.
no further discussion unless Mr. Raker wishes to speak.
Absolutely.
then- Yes, Mr. Raker?
And 1 second, council. All right, good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm glad to be back home amongst family and friends. I have a contract in place. It's in effect with full force, and I anticipate that this elected body will honor it. As a city manager, the major part of my job is to advise council. I reviewed some of the meeting videos and many of my communications in preparation for this evening. An obvious point of consternation with some members of council was the impression that I had not been in contact with the city in my absence. In all actuality, I sent over 40 emails to the acting city manager and over 300 text messages were exchanged between us during my absence. Most of these communications were focused on maintaining the continuity of operations for the city. Since I might not have another chance to speak, I'd like to just highlight some of my successes. Probably the greatest financial success to the city was the hiring of labor attorney Ken Wilson, which ultimately led to the nearly $27 million in OPEB expense savings to the city over the next 30 years. Also, along with that, contracts with FOP, IFF, clerical, and DPW unions all were acquired without going to arbitration. Additionally, the Martin Luther King federal holiday became a city holiday due to my advocacy, and it was the right thing to do, and it was well overdue. Getting council to appoint Sharon Diwali as city attorney was another success. The previous city attorney was largely absent from council and did not have the strongest case record to rate continuing representing the city. Some of the community events, I brought Earth Day and brought back the cleanup, fix up Harper Woods, the slow roll and Juneteenth, all were started or reinvigorated on my watch. These were accomplished in close coordination with the NEDC volunteers. Additionally, the Harper Woods Soups and Kelly Road cleanups were successful due to my support and that of the NEDC volunteers. Lastly, and maybe the most socially important, most socially impactful, was the reestablishment of basketball courts as a means of recreation in the city. That happened on my watch. Community relations. We have a recurring representation with the Grosse Pointe News and a seat on their advisory board. Both did not occur prior to my arrival in Harper Woods. The Insider's Guide to the Grosse Pointes now includes Harper Woods, which occurred through my advocacy. The Hawk Signal Crossing on Kelly was a joint endeavor between Harper Woods and Detroit. Prior to my arrival, there was no sustained relationship with the Eastland Mall management team. Additionally, the quarterly newsletter was established under my leadership, along with its advisory council and the new electronic community information boards at City Hall. Both are funded with the PA 359 revenues that were established under my watch. Please recall, in preparation for the 2020 budget, in the fall of 2019, I provided you all with a color-coded list of by-department acquisitions that were necessary for city services. This had us spending some of the general fund balance to the tune of approximately $400,000. The successes of 2020 were planned and coordinated with all department heads to include the acquisition of 5 patrol cars, 3 dump trucks, the street sweeper, a new roof, new boiler, and state-of-the-art security system at City Hall, along with various miscellaneous equipment and cosmetic upgrades. Also, I coordinated the drafting and the eventual awarding of 3 distressed cities grants totaling nearly $1 million. All of this was initiated under my watch prior to my departure for military duty in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, investment in workforce development prior to my arrival, not much was in place into the developing of our staff and volunteers. Though there is still much work to be done on this front, my support for workforce development has been largely ad hoc, but some notable mentions are advising the city clerk to pursue certification, which he is currently completing as we speak, and our planning commission members standing expectation that each member become a certified citizen planner through the MSU extension program. At one point, we did have 100% of our planning commission members certified and was likely possibly the only planning commission in the state to have such. This was done by me intentionally due to the eventual pending developments that would come to the Harper Woods community at Eastland and Pope Park school sites. In closing, this past year has been challenging for everyone. My hat is off to the Harper Woods employees. Well done. I'm eager to return to City Hall and get back to working for the great citizens of Harper Woods. Pending any questions, that is my statement.
All right, thank you. Having no further discussion, roll call vote, Mr. Szymanski.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Costantino. Your mute is on.
Can you please restate the motion or the resolution?
The resolution is to not renew the employment agreement between the city of Harper Woods and Joseph Raker.
No.
Okay. Councilwoman Lyons,
No.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
No.
Mayor Kendall.
Yes.
Resolution passes. No further business, Madam Mayor.
All right. There's no further business. Can I call for an adjournment?
No? There's public comment.
Call the audience. Call the audience. Is there anyone that needs to speak or would like to speak? And raise your hand if you'd
Mr.
like.
Callis has his hand raised.
Mr. Callis has his hand raised, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Callis? 2 minutes.
We don't have any audio from you, Dave. You're unmuted, but no audio is being heard.
Okay.
Dave, check your audio. We'll get back to you in a moment.
Are there any other hands up?
Smith family has their hand raised.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd first like to say to the mayor, city council members, this is a sad day for Harper Woods. We are the residents of Harper Woods. We are the voters of Harper Woods. And what you have done, first of all, you spit in the face of men and women that are in the military, because you would take this opportunity when a man is away on active military duty to come up with this terrible, not well thought out scheme. It's not a plan, it's a scheme. Mayor, shame on you. Councilman Toussaint, shame on you. And to the other ones, shame on you. And I hope on the next election that the citizens by that time will understand what you have done to cause the taxpayers now to legally have to fight for the city because of the incompetency of our elected officials in how you went about concocting this scheme. You should be ashamed. It is no doubt, it is no secret that we knew that it was going to be the Bees, the Valeries, the Veronicas, the Vivians who were going to come up with this crazy ideal. It is stupid. And I want to make sure I am clear in what I say. It is hurtful. And you did this for your personal selves instead of the people who elected you and entrusted that you would make smart decisions. But don't worry, hear me right now. You will remember the decision that you made. And when you're sitting next to me and no longer in those comfortable seats, then you will understand that you did not care about the citizens. Madam Mayor, I want you to remember, you've had some private conversations with me in your attempt to get rid of the city manager. And I'm sure those conversations are going to come back and you're going to be embarrassed because what you did was wrong. And all of you who voted that way, this will not be the last time that you will hear from your dreadfully terrible, stupid decisions.
All right. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
See if my audio works. There we go.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's working, Mr. Callis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. I cannot express enough my disappointment in this termination of the contract. And I have to agree with Mr. Smith. He is 100% right. I called this before coming to this meeting that Valerie, Ms. Kendall, and Ms. Pies, Vivian, Veronica, and Valerie would all vote to terminate his contract. And I knew that it was going to come down to Mr. Toussaint. And I do not understand the reasoning as to why Mr. Toussaint would sit there and let a serviceman be discharged when he wasn't even here to evaluate. Now, I have personal things with Mr. Raker, but personal does not belong in a community. Your personal feelings have nothing to do with it. Now, I do have community issues with Mr. Raker too, and I do butt heads with the man, but I agree 100%. If you're going to sit there and judge him, then at least give him 1 year and then evaluate a year down the road, because this November, things are going to change. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Bob, do you see anyone else with hands up?
I do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay, we'll move on to call the council.
Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Regina, Councilwoman Williams, please. You're muted.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. As a member of the council, the people elected me to come on the council to make informed decisions to the best of my ability that's in the interest of the city. And even with this decision, I try to make an informed decision, not just say yes or no with the flow. And with lack of evidence to support the decision that this council made, I must say I am embarrassed and saddened to be on the city council because the information was lacking. November election is coming up, so I hope the public will take a good look at the candidates and the records of the candidates. You go back and take a good look at these videos and make an informed decision about who they want to be in the next offices. And thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
There's only one thing I have to say, and that is that before every meeting of this city council, my prayer is that I do the very best job that I can for this community. And I believe that I have. And that's the only thing I need to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Councilwoman Constantino.
and council. I can't even give you the words to describe, you know, what risk we just put our taxpayers at. I mean, I concur with Councilmember Williams, but I think at this point, the vote's already cast. I do think that we need to thank City Manager Raker for his service to our country
I agree.
and for the service that he did provide to the city. There was a transitional point when he saved our city a bunch of money. He cleaned up the corruption in the public safety department. And that maybe was probably one of the most important things that he did while he was here. And there was, you know, there were a lot of things that changed. He was kind of a change agent. But, I mean, I didn't always agree with him on everything, but I did want to thank him for his service to our country and his service to our city.
Okay, if there's any further discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
I would have to say that I am embarrassed by my colleagues and this decision, and this reflects poorly on our city. And I also wanted to say that since we were just talking about these big business developments that, you know, Mayor Kendall was so fond of singing the praises of, you know, Mayor Pointer for having set up. Joe Raker would have been instrumental in having set up these same developments. And this is the way we thank him. So, you know, this is just a shame and a travesty. He has worked with so many different cities and so many different organizations, and we were lucky to have him. And so this is just wrong on so many levels. And now our city has opened itself up to so much ridicule and so much just negativity. So I would have to say that yes, it is definitely time for some changes around here. And I hope that the voters take note.
Okay.
And I
All
want
right.
to thank Joe Raker. Excuse me, Madam Mayor, I'm speaking.
I
want to
thought you had
thank
paused
Joe
for a
Raker
moment,
for
but that's
his
okay.
service to our city and to his country.
Thank you. Is there any further discussions? There's none, seen. And we would like to ask for adjournment.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer the motion to adjourn today's city council meeting, 5:28 p.m.
Support.
To disconnect before I asked for the adjournment. So all in favor of adjourning, please say yes. Please say yes. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Yes, aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Those opposed?
Okay, nobody's opposed.
So no one is opposed. Okay, so now the meeting is officially adjourned.